everybody, it's Friday. I'm Lawrence Presman, the Prez, co-founder of WagerTalk Media, and well, you know what sites we own, WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and of course the iconic, legendary, must-read, must-have, much purchase, must sleep with, must bath with, must take to the washroom with, the Gold Sheet. Today's show, Marco D'Angelo, my co-founder and, one of my favorite friends to annoy, and Jeff from Oskeim Sports, probably the only guy we know who could do a show with Marco and I. I'm the Prez, and let's bring our guests into it. Jeff, we'll go to you first, my friend. You know, we love having you on. Marco and I talk about it all the time. We never talk about it, ever. Not many people can be on a show with the two of us.
Prez, I got to tell you something. I'm not sure if you read the comments from our last show we did last Friday, but boy, the people are demanding that I get my own show. They want Oskeim Sports front and center. They are sick and tired of the two of you. They're pleading, Prez. Your phone must be ringing off the hook.
Well, Jeff, you know what? Let's have a business meeting. You have the two co-founders on, Marco and myself. Marco, what do you think about Jeff doing his own show? I'm all for it. I mean, all he needs to do is come up with an idea and start doing it. Like, I'm not standing in his way, are you?
Hell no. Actually, I think he should just take a couple of your shows. That seems to be the growing trend.
You know what? Well said. That is the growing trend. And speaking of which, we're going to talk about that for a second, okay? And I think it's bringing the best out in everybody. So I'm gonna put a positive spin. So last year, our fearless leader, Johnny Detroit, says, okay, guys, we're gonna really focus on building up our YouTube channel. Nobody steps up. So the Prez is like, okay, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do a daily show. Then it became 2 daily shows. Then I thought to myself, let's do an NFL presidential address, an hour-long NFL show. And everything goes great. Everybody gets hyped. Our channel starts to rock and roll. We're picking up 1,000 new visitors every 4 or 5 days. So we get a call from Marco. I'm jealous of the Prez. I know he didn't actually say that, but this is going on in his head. It's like, I'm jealous of the Prez. He's getting all this pub, all this promo stuff. He's doing all these shows. I'm going to steal the NFL show from him, call it Bet On It. But you know what? I'm going to Vaseline him, and I'm going to even steal his host. I'm like, you know what, Marco? Anything for WagerTalk first. Take Kelly, do the show. I'll come up with a college football betting show. So I come up with a college football betting show. Teddy, me, Dave, Marco sees how well it does. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do an hour-long college football betting show. Then Johnny notices how great all my daily shows are going, so he's like, hey, Drew, why don't you host a daily show up against the Prez? Okay, Drew will handle that. And you know what, Marco? And I'll go to you first. I'm thrilled, dude. I am thrilled that my hard work, my ingenuity, my talent, and my creativity has lit the fire under everybody's butt to the point where Jeff Lazy Man Oskeim wants his own show. Every
Just
day.
Responding to the people. I'm down with the people, Prez.
So Marco, please understand, I am thrilled that you have stolen all my ideas and all my hard work, taken it on as your own. And I'm going to say this flat out, Marco, you're doing a better job than me. Bet On It is unbelievable. The production quality is second to none. The chemistry between you and VR is phenomenal. Kelly is an incredible host. The show is funny. It's entertaining. The dialogue is amazing. Marco, as a man who had his show stolen, as a man who had his host stolen, it is an honor and a privilege to see and watch what I consider to be WagerTalk's absolute finest hour.
Are you saying that's the flagship show of the YouTube channel?
No, I'm saying that's the flagship NFL show on the YouTube channel. The flagship show on the
Okay,
YouTube
great.
channel is this show, because this is the daily show that brings all different guests in, promotes different people, and has more of a lifestyle feel to it. But focus on the fact that I believe your show, bet on it, is absolute perfection.
Thank you. I want to clarify, you like to exaggerate things. First of all, you said, I pulled out the Vaseline.
Jeff, there's a volume issue with Marco. We're just going to have to move to you. I can't hear him at all.
Okay.
But I'd like to add something to this, Marco. So I inspired you to steal all my shows and make yours better than mine, and you have done that, and I'd like to congratulate you publicly. Conversely, I am now, as I motivated you, you have now motivated me. Within the next month, there will be massive changes to the Prez's daily shows, and it has been inspired by you, VR, and Kelly's excellence. So thank you for that.
So we're this is like Rocky and Apollo Creed pushing one another. Who's Rocky and who's Apollo Creed in this one?
Be who you, Marco. Be who you want, dude. Like, clearly you've got issues.
Letting you pick. Letting you pick.
Letting me pick. All you're going to do is steal it. Okay, I'm Rocky. Guess what, Jeff? He's now Rocky.
Well, you can't. I'm the people's champ. Come on. Next to Johnny Detroit, I'm the guy from Philly. I'm at Pittsburgh, but
okay.
I'm the guy out there with the blue collar people. You're not the blue collar guy. Come on, and that
dude. Every button down that I wear has a blue collar. Old Dominion plus 16.5 versus UAB. Jeffrey from Oskeim Sports. You picked this game to talk about. I hand it to you, my friend.
I did, Prez. This is one of my favorite games because it involves one of my favorite metrics in college football that I've been using this season, and that's Havoc, and Havoc created and Havoc allowed. And this is a nightmare setup and situation for Old Dominion. If you look at UAB, they're ranked 17th in the nation in Havoc this season, and I discussed it last Friday in the show, but Havoc rate is total plays divided by the total number of tackles for a loss, forced fumbles, or passes defended divided. And UAB this season has forced 9 fumbles and 46 tackles for a loss. And their front 7 on the defensive side of the field just dominates the trenches. On the flip side, Old Dominion, they arrive with an offense that is ranked 125th in Havoc allowed. Havoc allowed is interceptions, tackles for a loss, and fumbles offensively. And the Monarchs this season, this is incredible. The Monarchs this season, they've allowed 53 tackles for a loss, which is the 7th most in the nation. So just looking at the offense and defense, the line work here, Old Dominion is in a lot of trouble. Now, if you also look at where they come in with an offense that cannot score, UAB has a very good defense. They're ranked 6th in the country in defensive success rate, and they've held 4 of 6 opponents below 300 yards this season. And Old Dominion, on the other hand, has eclipsed 300 total yards and only 4 straight, I believe, since they won their home opener against Norfolk State. So an FCS opponent. They cannot get a win under their belt. And UAB is coached by one of the best, I believe, head coaches in college football, and that's Bill Clark. He has really resurrected this program. The Blazers are 23-9-1 since reestablishing their football program, and they're 15-0 straight up, 12-2-1 against the spread. Their last 15 games at home under Bill Clark. I like UAB laying the wood, which is very strange for me. I'm usually looking to take the points in games. This is the one blowout of the week. I really like the Blazers in this game. Yeah,
and Marco, really, my takeaway from that is it's strange for Jeff to lay the wood. What do you like in this play?
I'm not going to go there. Okay. I'll let Jeff slide on that one because he left the door wide open.
I did.
You did, man. And
I should know better.
Okay. Jeff's considerably younger than I am. Okay.
Yeah, everybody is considerably younger than you are, Marco.
But, this is in Jeff, a tremendous breakdown and, Havoc and everything else. Havoc for me is whenever, I get to the buffet line and they're out of crab legs. Okay. You guys, the younger generation, fancy terms on everything. Everything that Jeff just said, when I saw the game that he sent and I said, first of all, I go, what in the F is he doing looking in this game? Because we get to pick which games we want to talk about. I'm like, Old Dominion and UAB. Seriously, is your life that boring that we're looking at Old Dominion and UAB?
Misery loves company, Marco. Misery loves company. I got to spread the love.
All right. So I open it up, okay? In Old Dominion, let me tell you, all those fancy words you just used, I can sum up. They can't run, okay? They can't run the football. Yet, for some reason...
That's 3 words.
Well,
Prez.
okay,
I will vote, and I say it's 2 words.
Okay. This team, their last 4 games, 64 yards rushing, 90 yards rushing, and 83 yards rushing. And then I look, for some reason, they continue to try to run. They've had in those games 44 carries, 42 carries, 31 carries, and 36 carries. And you know what? Havoc, I look at that. That's a hell of a lot of rushing attempts for very few yards. So I'm going to take a shot and guess they had some losing plays there that they lost yardage on. So that's how I do it old school. Yeah, screw Old Dominion. I want no part of them. You've got UAB. They've only allowed 20 points or more one time all year. No fancy terms. I'll give you one. UAB just fucking blows them out in this game. Lay the points because I'm going to let Jeff lay the wood.
Is there a... Whoa!
Oh, he is the people's champ. He did this last Friday to me. He's like, all these fancy terms. Let me just break it down for... That's what Marco does. Very well done.
Yeah, Marco, good job, dude. Now go get some crab legs. I don't think I'm needed much on this show. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and watch the 2 of you. Kansas plus 21. Jeff, go.
All right, here we go. Kansas is coming off a bye. This is a great situation for them and a horrible spot for Texas. I mean, the Longhorns are coming off an emotional 34-27 loss to Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. And Les Miles has had 2 weeks to prepare the Kansas Jayhawks for this game. They're healthy coming into this game. In contrast, the Texas Longhorns are riddled with injuries. They could be missing up to 10. You have defensive backs in Stearns, Jalen Green, and Josh Thompson. They will not be playing. You have senior linebacker Jeffrey McCulloch. He suffered a dislocated shoulder last week against Oklahoma. You have defensive end Malcolm Rose due to a suspension. He was ejected in the Oklahoma game last week. And then you have wide receiver Colin Johnson, who's an integral part of the offense. He is still in the concussion protocol for the Longhorns. The other reason I like this game, the Kansas Jayhawks plus the points, is Miles fired his offensive coordinator and promoted within Brent Dearman. And why that's significant is that Dearman is a RPO guy, and he's very good at it. And the personnel that the Kansas Jayhawks have this year really fits that system. And they've had 2 weeks to work with this, with the new offensive coordinator, who worked with the offense previously before he was promoted, so they're familiar with him to begin with. But I think with 2 weeks, the personnel Kansas has, I really like the Jayhawks in this game, and you would be shocked. I was shocked to learn that the Jayhawks, offensively, they're ranked 20th in red zone scoring percentage, so they finish drives, and defensively, they're ranked 26th in red zone scoring percentage allowed. Finally, there's some technical trends that I've dug up here. The Longhorns, you can't trust them laying the wood at home. They are 4-10 against the spread, their last 14 as home favorites. And believe it or not, Kansas is 6-0-1 against the spread, their last 7 as conference underdogs of 21 or more points. I like the Jayhawks plus the points, and probably one of the best situational spots this week.
Yeah, so Marco, my takeaway from that is if you can't lay the wood at home, where can you lay the wood?
Sometimes some people will tell you that away from home is a little better.
Nicely said. Nicely said, Marco. What do you like in this one?
All right, you know what? I gave Jeff a ton of shit in the last video, and I'm not going to give him any in this one because basically he stole all my notes. This is the greatest situational spot
In
to fade
history
Texas
of
here.
the world.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, Texas. Along with that, we know how good Harmon is as a dog. He's not been head coach Harmon, not as a favorite as Jeff said there. But I'll also throw in the fact that Texas, a little bit better. They've been living on what I feel is borrowed time because they've benefited from the turnovers. And with all those injuries, I don't think they're going to be getting many turnovers this week. In the last 3 games, they've had a turnover advantage of 8-4. And Prez, you know what the results are whenever you're plus and minus on turnovers.
Oh,
and how much that it'll help.
I'm actually Mr. Turnover.
And that's one thing. Kansas at least generally does take care of the ball. And even in 2 games that they were utterly outmatched in their last 2 games against TCU and Oklahoma, they had no turnovers in those 2 games. They're going to run the football, and the offensive coordinator point is spot on. 2 weeks to prepare, get some new wrinkles into the offense. Texas is going to see some things in this game that they have not seen on film from Kansas so far this year. So that makes it tough for them to prepare. I agree with that. I think the number is too high in this one. If you're playing the game, you got to be taking the points in this one, as it is a major letdown spot for the Texas Longhorns.
He's Marco D'Angelo, Jeff from Oskeim Sports. You can find both of them at WagerTalk.com. Let's talk some streaks, brother. Marco, you are 33-13 in your last 5 weeks of football. You know, me and you talked a couple of weeks ago when you were rolling, and it was like, oh, you know, let's hope it continues. And it has, man. Congratulations to you. What an outstanding NFL season.
You know, Prez, just want to throw one thing in there. Last week, rolling with the 5% plays. I actually went 0-2 last week on 5% plays. And, and who would ever say that? I mean, everybody calls us out on Twitter, and we don't hide anything at WagerTalk. But the reason I'm pointing it out is we still had a winning week last week, even losing those 2 plays on Saturday and Sunday. A couple, gut-wrenching losses, but, it happens. But that's why I emphasize the importance of jumping on a capper that you're comfortable with and buy them long term, because you're going to get all of their plays. And last week was a perfect example. If you only cherry picked and took my top 2 plays of the weekend, unfortunately we did go 0-2. But if you were on for an all access package, you built on your profits, and you're sitting, added to that 33-13 record. And that's a good point. And that's why this week, that promotion that we're running is I wanted to do a really good deal on a long-term package for people. So they really don't have an excuse. You can save a ton of money buying that 30-day package. And we took an extra $100 off of it. Already a fantastic price at $325 down to $225 when they use that code.
Yeah, the promo code is MD225. And that was really well said. Jeff, you've been probably the hottest handicapper at WagerTalk for the last 4 months. How did you do this past week? And stop looking at my bicep, man. Jeff, stop looking at that vein. Stop! Focus!
It's tough, man. It's tough.
You know what? One time and that's it. There you go. Now get it in your head, out of your head. Let's go, Jeff. Focus.
How many pull-ups did he do you think?
I can do
Marco,
45.
I can do the veins going.
I can do 45 pull-ups.
I know the game. I
can do 45 pull-ups. Can you believe?
Yeah, I do believe it. So streaks. It's been a very good football season for me. I'm 19-8 my last 28 over the last 28 days in college football. But over the last 3 months, I think you alluded to it, 4 months, I have the numbers for the last 3 months, 93-57. That's 62%. It's just been a very good run for myself and for my clients, and I'm grateful for everyone who's jumped on board. And I'm looking forward to another winning weekend this weekend.
We love having you, dude. Now, before we get into the baseball game, that's perfect timing. I want to speak about that drink. Marco, I don't know if you noticed, but Jeff is drinking what I think is water through a Starbucks cup with a lid and a straw. it begs the question, did he actually drive to Starbucks to get a glass of water? Like this
So
is,
here's the
I'm
deal.
drinking water. This is in a cup, which I own.
Yeah.
I own a cup. I put it under the tap.
Here,
I did not cover it, and nor is there
that
a
explains a
plastic
lot.
straw that's bad for the environment in it.
So, there's a Starbucks right below my office. Every morning I get a green tea. That's the secret to my success, by the way, the green tea in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I just drink a lot of water because I have a water cooler here in the office. So that's it. That's the gig. And then I poison my body with a little Diet Coke every
Well,
once in a
you
while.
guys should hear Puck Time tonight. Marco, you're going to appreciate this. I was up, did Puck Time with Alex and Andrew today, and Alex is so excited. He's like, oh my God, tonight is going to be amazing. College football, UFC, boxing, NHL. I just literally bought a case of pop, a case of Coke, and I'm ordering a pizza, and I'm going to town tonight.
Hey man, that's a party.
Yeah, Alex, 24 cans of Coke and a pizza.
He's my kind of guy.
Invite me, pick me, pick me. Boys, I'm on a 10-3 all sports run. Now I know that pales in comparison to the two of you. I'm 8-1 in the baseball playoffs. I'm up in hockey, and I am finally seeing it right in NFL football. I'm the streakiest handicapper alive, and I've just started mine. So a really good time to get on me, guys. That's my opinion. Marco, let's talk baseball. Yankees are one and done if they lose. They're playing Verlander minus 140 to Houston, over and under 7.5. I don't know if the Yankees can get it done. I actually cannot wait for a Houston-Washington World Series. I mean, can you imagine? They're going to roll out Garrett Cole versus Scherzer, Verlander versus Strasburg. I mean, this is unbelievable pitching. Plus, both teams can hit. Both teams can manufacture runs. I want to talk about the next round. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Yeah, well, the problem with tonight, the Yankees season was last night. They needed to win last night's game. I did have the Yankees last night. I had been winning in the playoffs, not to your level, Prez. That put us at 8-5 for the playoffs, losing last night. I can't play this game. I don't want to take Houston here and lay that kind of price on the road to the Yankees, but they're in a spot where psychologically they have to be down and out. They know the series is over. And the guy that they're asking to save their season is James Paxton, who has not pitched well in his two appearances in the postseason. He went 4 2/3 against Minnesota in the first round, gave up 3 runs. They had to get him out of there. He couldn't even, it was a big lead, couldn't complete it to get the win. And then in his last outing, went 2 1/3. Although he only gave up 1 run in that game, he was really not dominant. He gave up 4 hits in the 2 2/3 and had 2 walks in the game. So they weren't happy. They got him out of there before too much damage was done. And having to go to the bullpen earlier last night, I just don't know how the Yankees can, pull themselves up off the mat. If you play the game, you got to pass, but I'm not laying that price to this Yankee lineup on the road. So we'll wait for that next series, unless somehow this goes back to Houston, and then we may have a play in Game 6.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I can't play on this game tonight either. I agree 100%. And Jeff, before we get to you, we have a new promo we just put up. It's the last day of this promo, and it's the best hockey promo we're going to have all year. $39 for a week of any of our NHL experts: Prez, Dave, Koken, Carm, Buster, Kevin Dolan, Alex, and Andrew. That promo code can be used at Sports Memo or at WagerTalk. It's NHL39. Jeff, I absolutely love your sweatshirt. I love the color of it, by the way. And I say that all serious. Marco, I can't stand the color of your shirt. What is it, like a
Peach?
Peach.
But it's like,
Georgia peach.
I don't want to say it's a gay man's peach because
This is as close. No, this is as close to fruit as I get. Okay. You want me to eat? You want me to have? You said more fruits and vegetables, Marco. We need you. You got a hit show now. We can't have you killing over. So I got some.
yeah, I
peach.
wonder why you have a hit show, huh? Thief. Jeff, what do you like in this game?
Second week in a row. You like my fashion, huh?
Actually,
Well,
Jeff,
it seems
I'll be
every
flat
week-
out honest
every
with
week-
you.
Last week it was the vest.
I'll be flat out honest with you,
This week
Jeff.
it's
I got a full-on man crush with you, dude. I think I like your dimples. I like your baby blues. I like the way you dress.
There we go.
I'm a big fan, bro.
All right.
Oh man.
And can we just stop right there? I feel so good right now.
Okay, baseball.
So, baseball, I have no opinion on this game, but for those who are concerned about Verlander facing the Yankees for the second time, so they've seen him already, one interesting statistic that I came across is Verlander has faced the same team twice in a playoff series 8 times, and his ERA in the first time is 2.94, and not what you would expect the second time around against his ERA has dropped to 2.84, so he's actually better the second time facing the same team. I would give a slight lean to the Astros if I had to play the game, but I have no action on it.
Let's talk NFL, boys. I've given my thoughts on this Baltimore game, so I'm going to move to Marco. Baltimore plus 3.5 versus Seattle. Marco, I listened to your take on Bet on it on this game, and you're just a god to me, Marco, my hero.
Oh, well, I'm glad you watched the show, and maybe that's
why
you started winning the
Dude,
last
it was like
week or
3
so.
in the morning. I couldn't sleep.
And my soothing voice put you to sleep. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I ended up going for a jog after the show.
I had you that energized.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was like...
All right. You look at this Baltimore game, and I'll tell you what. John Q. Public's going to look at this game and say Cleveland drilled Baltimore in Baltimore, which they did. And Seattle last week beat Cleveland. So this is one of those old ABC type games that we talk about.
Stop. I'm going to teach you a word of the day, Marco.
Okay, what is that?
I can't remember. Syllogism. Jeff,
Right,
do you know that word?
That? No, I have no idea.
That's not a word. It's not a word.
Marco is making a syllogistic argument right now. A syllogism is A plus B equals C. Man drives Porsche, man is rich. That's a syllogism. So Marco, continue with your syllogism, please.
Does that go the same for men that drive BMWs?
Men who drive BMWs richer than man who drives Porsche with bigger penis, therefore doesn't need a Porsche.
Oh, well, I'm just going to leave it go. Prez. This is a spot where people...
Wait, stop. I'm interrupting again.
Yes, you are.
Jeff, next week we're going to watch Bet on it, and Kelly's going to go to Marco and be like, Marco, what do you think about this game? And Marco's like, oh, this game is not my sandwich game. This game is my syllogism game.
Okay. I can guarantee you that will not happen because I have to type up the show notes every week, and I don't have a freaking clue of how even to spell that or even to get close enough to spell that to get, spell check to finish it for me, okay?
Baltimore plus
so
3.5.
Unless you text it to me, it will not be on the show.
I will not interrupt you again.
All right. You got my train of thought there. People are going to look and say, this is a spot where if, Seattle can beat Cleveland and Cleveland could beat Baltimore, well, then Seattle should win. And it's a field goal, basically. We're seeing 3.5s on this game around town. I think it's going to come down to 3 because people are going to look. I'm not sold on Seattle. You look at their wins, and all of Seattle's wins, except the Arizona game, were by 4 points or less. And Baltimore, other than having, the bad game against Cleveland, they were in the game late against Kansas City, but still, that was their one bad game against Kansas City. And as we've seen, a lot of teams have struggled against the Kansas City offense, obviously. Just ask the Denver Broncos last night. I like Baltimore going in there. And one of the key factors of why Seattle has success, and it's the reason they won last week, Russell Wilson. Once again, this guy, especially and unfortunately for Mahomes getting hurt last night and going to be able to be missing some time, the MVP, go run to your sports book now and bet the MVP. It's Russell Wilson. This team, Seattle, you take him off, they're not winning. And last week was the perfect example again. He hit Cleveland with both his arms, with the throwing, just unbelievable reads he gets on the run. But it is when he tucks the ball and runs he's doing his most damage. And Cleveland continually didn't leave a spy on him in this game. They were dropping back in coverage, turning their backs to the backfield. And when he sees that and he can break the line of containment, the original line of scrimmage, he's gone. There's 15, 20 yards of daylight before anybody is there to stop him. Baltimore knows how to defend a running quarterback. They see him every single day in practice in Lamar Jackson. I don't expect Russell Wilson to have the day that he had with his feet last week. And that's a big key to the Seattle offense. Defensively, Seattle really has not stopped people. Last week, Cleveland stopped themselves, not Seattle. The turnovers, 4 turnovers, throwing into double coverage, the play calling, and then the coaching of Freddie Kitchens, that's a whole nother story. I like Baltimore here. I think they go in and win the game outright. I've got them winning 27-23. I'll grab those 3.5 points for my first play.
Jeff Oskeim, I'm passing on this game. What do you like, my friend?
Yeah, I agree with Marco.
Yeah, you agree with Marco, blah, blah, blah. He pays your bills. You never disagree with him.
But here, I do have a couple concerns. I want to bounce those off of Marco and see what he thinks about it, and I'm sure he's considered them. But, I mean, it's really a really bad situational spot for the Ravens. I mean, they've come off 3 straight AFC North encounters against Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. And now they have to travel out west to face the Seahawks in a non-conference affair. They have a bye on deck, which is nice. But following the bye, they have a Monday night game against the Patriots. The Ravens are 1-6 their last 7 against the number prior to a bye week. Are you a little concerned that they're not going to treat this non-conference game as importantly as maybe they should?
If they had New England up without the bye week, absolutely. But as I talked about last week on the Bet On It show, we actually had as our play, and the reason I had Cincinnati in that game, and granted, I got a backdoor cover on it, but it was just that fact that they were sandwiched between Pittsburgh and Seattle. And the Cincinnati game was the game that they took off looking ahead, because even though that was a division game, it was Cincinnati, and we saw how bad they were. And then they do have the week in between. But I would agree 100%. If New England was right on deck, I would be a little bit more concerned. But having the bye week, I'm not concerned about that. And they basically just went through the motions last week to get that win against Cincinnati, because the Bengals are the Bengals, and they didn't have to do much in that game. But good point, and I did consider all of those.
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I figured you did, Marco. And the other concern I have is obviously home field advantage for the Seahawks, which is very significant. I mean, under Pete Carroll, they're 46, 32, and 3 against the spread at home. And what I found remarkable is since 2010, the Seahawks have scored on an average of 7.8 points more per game than their opponents at home. And that's the 3rd best point differential over that span. And that's only trailing the Patriots and the Packers. And then on the defensive side of the field, they've held opponents to an average of 18.7 points per game at home, which is the 2nd best point differential over that span as well. So they're very good at home. It's a very strong home field advantage. And again, it's a non-conference affair for the Ravens. And it concerns me a little bit, but I do definitely lean with Baltimore plus the points.
He's Jeff. The other guy's Marco. I'm the Prez. You're watching The Betting Edge with the Prez. One last game to talk about. Philadelphia. Well, it was +3 when we started the show, and now we've got 2.5s on the board. The over and under is 49. Marco, I'll go to you first. Again, I'm not touching this game, man. Like, I'm confused. I don't know who Dallas is right now. I mean, they came out guns a-blazing first 3 games, then they've lost 3. They're deeply injured. I mean, and their injuries are really stacked up. They've got 2 wide receivers injured. They got 2 O-line guys injured. They got 2 guys in their secondary injured. You know, and conversely, Philadelphia is confusing me too. I feel like there's enough games on the board to bet. I'm also, by the way, in case you're interested, and I know you're not, I'm going to see the Thievery Corporation on Sunday night, so I won't even get to watch this game, but I do watch every game. I like actually spend Sunday night watching all the games in rewind on the NFL package. I'm passing, brother. Where are you going with this one?
Oh, first I got to ask, who or what is the Thievery? What are you going to see?
They're one of my favorite bands. I believe that Jeff is a Thievery Corporation fan. I got a feeling that he likes the Thievery Corporation. He just doesn't know it because he hasn't heard any of their music.
Never heard of them. I'm a Killers. I like the Killers.
I love the Killers.
I thought you might.
Somebody told me that he was your guy. I love the Killers, and they're so good live, Jeff.
Never been, but I want to.
Yeah, they are. They're amazing, man. But no, Thievery Corporation, check them out. They're actually unbelievable. One of my favorite bands. So yeah, I'm seeing them Sunday night, and like I said, I'm passing on this game. Marco, can we get like a 2-minuter from you on this one instead of like your regular 10 minutes of loquaciousness?
If they want the in-depth version, they can go to bet on it.
Everybody goes to bet on it, Marco. I mean, it's literally the #1 show on YouTube in this space, and the fact that it was stolen from me, it gives me a lot of warmth.
Oh, Prez.
Oh, Prez.
Someday I'm going to send you links to the previous 7 years.
Volume issues.
All right, I'm looking at Dallas here, and I understand all of the injuries. I know that. But Philadelphia's got their share of injuries too, guys. And this secondary for the Eagles has just been absolutely getting ripped. And I'm going to just throw it out there. When you give up 325 yards to Kirk Cousins, you got a bad secondary, okay? He shredded them. 22 of 29 last week were the Vikings. Now, granted, they had a complimentary running game to go with that. When you got a Delvin Cook back there that can run the football the way he does, that helps. But I'm not sold on this Philadelphia defense at all. Every game this season, except the Jets, with a third-string quarterback, has scored 24 or more points against this Philadelphia defense. This is a game for Dallas. If they lose this one, guys, I think the Cowboys season is gone, and Jason Garrett, if he hasn't already, will completely lose this team. And if you saw on Sunday, there were shots of it going around on Twitter. Guys coming off the field, players, Jason Garrett, meeting his defense and stuff, coming off the field and offense and stuff, reaching out, high five, patting them and stuff. The players were just walking past him. That is not a good sign. But even with that said, Monday night or Sunday night game, home game, after the embarrassment of losing to the Jets last week, I think you're going to see a big-time game from Dallas, much like we saw when Philadelphia played against Atlanta in week 2, a team that, as we saw, has gone on to not play good the rest of the season, the Atlanta Falcons. I think Dallas is going to find a way to gut out a win here, and I'm taking Dallas at home. I want no part of this Philadelphia team on the road in a just-pick-the-winner situation. And, guys, let's not forget, this is the third road game in 4 weeks for Philadelphia.
Yeah, so, Marco, what I'm hearing from you is that if Dallas loses this game, their season is over. So that would imply that this is an absolute must-win game for Dallas. When was the last time Dallas won a must-win game under Jason Garrett?
That is a good point, but I'm going to just say one thing to you. Whenever I'm done talking, find a new phrase instead of saying what I'm hearing. Because I got to tell you, if you want to go back and search way back when, I used to do some videos back in the day at another location. And there was a certain person that used to do that, paraphrase
I will
afterwards.
never say that again, Marco. My humble and sincere apologies. I'll tell you flat out. I think Jason Garrett would be, he might be a good coach if he would get out of that sun tanning salon.
The reason Jason Garrett is still the head coach of the Dallas
because
Cowboys.
He's a puppet.
Yeah, that is it, 100%.
He goes to the sun tanning salon with.
He plays the game for Jerry Jones.
The two of them talk all day while sun tanning their faces. Jeff.
Prez, quickly, I want nothing to do with Jason Garrett. I mean, as home favorites, the Cowboys are 19-34-1 against the spread. And he is the worst coach as a home favorite in the NFL over that span. The Cowboys are 1-18-1 against the spread as home favorites, following a straight up and against the spread loss. Now, I know Marco alluded to the fact that it's the Eagles are on an extended road trip here. This is their second of 3 consecutive road games, and that would concern me normally. But with the Philadelphia Eagles, they are 10-1 against the spread in the second of 3 straight road games, so it doesn't concern me here. It's a very important divisional game for them. And if you look at the Cowboys' start, 3-0 start, it was a complete mirage. It was built on a house of cards. You look at they scored 97 points against the Giants, Dolphins, and Redskins. I mean, can we slow down a little bit before we get all excited about the new offensive coordinator? And then if you look at the NFL next-gen stats, that model, Prescott had an expected completion rate of 64.6% in those first 3 wins. He completed 74.5% of his passes. So he was a prime regression candidate. It was a matter of time, and that's what we've seen over the last few weeks. Also, a third down conversion rate, the Cowboys had a league high 58.1%. They converted on their third downs and converted 9 of 11 red zone trips into touchdowns over that 3-0 start. Over the last 3 games, the Cowboys have converted 44.4% of their third downs, and they've only had a 44.4% red zone touchdown rate over that span as well. So they have been they were poised to regress. It was a matter of time, and that's what's taking place. This team is not good. I like the Eagles plus the points.
Jeff from Oskeim Sports, Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of WagerTalk.com. Boys, what an awesome show. This is my favorite combination show of the week. I love doing these shows with you guys. Marco, you're always a pleasure. Jeff, well, it's a pleasure for you to watch Marco and I and learn from us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Jeff, when are you starting your own show?
I'm still taking some calls from the people. I got to figure out what I'm going to do.
Okay, well, let us know. Guys, that's it, man. Both of you have an outstanding, incredible weekend. I'm home watching football. I got a poker tournament going on at my house tonight, and I'm excited about that. I love playing poker. Marco, me and you should do a poker show. Prez's Bad Beats.
There you go. When am I ever going to get an invite to one of these games?
Marco, let me summarize. I visited you in your city about 20 times since we've been partners. Uh-huh. How many times have you visited me?
Well, maybe because when you come to visit me, WagerTalk's paying for it, but I haven't heard you say that you're going to pay for me to come up to see you.
Okay, I'll pay for you to come up to see me.
All right, as soon as football season's over, I'm there. I want to come up because I definitely want to go to that poker room in Montreal.
I think there's one in February. Let's try to see if we can plan, me and you and Johnny going to February. We'll exclude Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, guys.
Yeah, no, I actually...
Is that called the playground?
I flat out did not invite you.
Yeah. Supposed to be the best poker room out there.
It's the best poker room in the world, bar none. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to comment. Make sure to check out Bet On It if you haven't. It honestly is our flagship football show. Marco, Gianni, and Kelly are incredible on it. Jeff, I'd love to do more shows with you, man. Anytime you want to be on a show with me, you are welcome. Have an incredible weekend, everyone, and I hope the ball bounces in the direction that you need. Prez, out.